Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm Steve, Mark's at work, and this is SmokeySteveAndMarc. Either welcome or welcome back. Here's the deal of what's going on. I worked late tonight. I drove 45 minutes to go facilitate a group and just drove 45 minutes back, and it is raining, and I came home to an empty, dark house. I was brainstorming in the car what to talk about, and this is my third attempt at filming this video. I filmed 10 minutes of it, didn't like it, filmed another 10 minutes of it, didn't like it, so I'm a little bit over it. I'm also kind of over, well, you'll find out I'm not, but I think I'm over rambling. I'm also over not smoking on camera. So, which will make me look like more of a fool, because what I wanted to talk about today was a couple thoughts that rung in my ear from a recent video that I had seen, and between the cigarettes and talking all day, I sound like Harvey Fierstein, so excuse me. I know, it says they kill you on the pack. Life by Jen had posted a video talking about Chantal and how she doesn't feel comfortable following her anymore because she feels that watching a person who has binge eating disorder, and Chantal has identified herself as having that, been diagnosed it, has seen a psychiatrist, was prescribed a medication, which, you know, in the US, the FDA indicates for binge eating disorder, moderate binge eating disorder. So that's what Chantal has going on. And is her binging, or having a mukbang, a form of self-injury? And by her taping it and us watching it, are we in some way participating in that? I'll leave out the "are we participating in that" part, because that's kind of heady and it's a personal choice, and there's a lot of moving parts with that I just kind of don't want to get into. I do have some experience with eating disorders, if you've seen any of my other videos from way back when. And I'll be honest with you guys, YouTube is kind of funky. Sometimes if a video, I've done mental health videos and videos about addiction before and mentioned eating disorders, and they demonetize them. I think advertisers think it's like a sticky subject, which is totally understandable, but it shouldn't be so taboo. Anyway, the eating disorder behaviors that I had were certainly binging. I mean, I was 300 pounds, and some of it was from steadily overeating, but I definitely had binges in there. I had periods where I would binge and then make myself sick. So I was diagnosed at one point with bulimia. That was the only official major eating disorder diagnosis. The other periods, I had behaviors of the other disorders that are more common, but I didn't have the full diagnosis. Like I was restricting and eating very little and eating, you know, a very small number of calories a day and exercising, but I had started at a very high weight when I was doing that. So I didn't meet the criteria for anorexia, but I had a lot of the behaviors and the preoccupations, the thinking of it. I wasn't diagnosed with binge eating disorder, but certainly there were times that I binged prior to purging. So, and I can appreciate a good binge, you know, not the guilt afterwards, but in the high of the moment, I can appreciate a good binge. So, in thinking about those behaviors as a kind of form of self-abuse, I would, like I just said, I would starve myself. I would take laxatives, even when I wasn't constipated. I would take over-the-counter diet pills by the handful, like Dexatrim, that kind of thing. What else would I do? Oh God. I was such a mess. Well, I'd make myself sick. Ipecac, I tried a few times. You know, the stuff you give to your kid if they eat something poisonous to make them sick. I'd go running until, like, I felt like my legs were going to explode. Stuff like that. Now, if you're a parent, or you have a pet, or you're responsible for an adult, or an elderly relative, or a parent, if you starved them, gave them Ipecac after their meals, fed them handfuls of laxatives when they weren't constipated, you'd be locked up for abuse. Either elder, child abuse, animal abuse, something like that. So it seems to me kind of cut and dry that those behaviors are a form of self-abuse. There's a part of eating disorders that are kind of addicting. I kind of got addicted to the the faraway headiness that starvation would give me. It kind of made me a little numb, kind of took the edge off of everything from feeling a little too real. It kind of numbed me out a little bit. And a binge would be a good escape. It would kind of take my mind off things for the duration of the binge. And one of the reasons that I would purge was to get rid of the guilt of the binge and then make room to binge again. It became blurry after a while. Was I binging so I could purge, or was I purging so I could binge? It became its own cycle of things. And then sometimes I would just binge so much that I would just get sick on my own. I didn't even have to make myself ill. I would just get ill because I had eaten so much. I thought my stomach was going to explode. So, is someone who is binging, who has binge eating disorder, who identifies as having binge eating disorder, engaging in a form of self-harm? It would be really interesting right now to dive in to is the person engaging in self-harm, are they showing it on YouTube? Should it be monetized? Should it be taken down because of YouTube policies and whatever, and Google's terms and conditions? I'll leave that to the people who make those kind of decisions. I don't really know. The comparisons have been drawn to other forms of addiction, or binging. If somebody was, identified as being an alcoholic, and, 1 month they were drinking every day on camera, and the next month they decided they were going to get into recovery, and then they didn't drink on camera every day, and their views went down. So they decided to start drinking again and became very brazen and proud about it. And it's kind of like, see, I'll show you all. I'm living my life. I'm doing me. If you don't like it, don't watch. I'll show you all. I'll screw myself up so bad, and it'll be on my terms. Because that proves a point, right? Now, I'm not going to nail Chantal or Foodie Booty to the cross here. I have her up on the TV, so I'm just pointing that way. She's not the only obese person to be on YouTube doing mukbangs. There's plenty of people that aren't obese who do it. However they do it. Some people are just those I can eat whatever I want and I never gain weight types. I'm giving the finger behind this pillow to them, okay? I am not one of those people. And that's great for them. When I started watching mukbangs, I kind of thought of it as like food trials, like food reviews initially. But then I kind of got the gist that, these 400-pound folks aren't doing me any favors reviewing the food. They're not eating it to tell me how it is. They're eating it because they want to eat, And you can't hide that kind of stuff. Like, when food is your fix, either when you're starving yourself or you're overeating, people can see it. Like, you can sometimes hide a drug problem for a little while. You chew enough gum, you can hide the fact that you're drinking, or if you're a closet drinker, things like that. At least until it gets, really too obvious. But when you have a problem with food, or with yourself, and you're coping with it with food, either in excess or in absence, people can tell. You're either walking around all bones, or, you're riding the Jazzy at a Walmart. Now, those are extreme ends of the spectrum, of course, and there's people who fall in the middle, like me, who, if I were to start right now binging and purging, the shape of my body probably wouldn't change too much. It would probably stay about the same. So one of the reasons I stayed sick for a long time is because when I was going through the bout of bulimia, I didn't get too big, I didn't get too small. When I stopped purging and kept binging, that's when I got heavy. But for whatever reason, binge eating disorder didn't seem to get as much attention. It didn't seem as scary. It was just as emotional as the other behaviors, but it didn't seem as immediately deadly as the others. The others seemed like they could kill you fast, so we should do something. The other seemed like, well, a lot of people are fat, so no big deal. That's kind of how it was going. And I'm a mental health guy, so I advocate for people who are going through mental and emotional stress, even if you're doing it to yourself. So am I participating in her illness if I'm watching her mukbangs? I don't know. I like to think of it as more of a documentary that I'm watching that's creating fodder for discussion. Granted, the discussion's getting a little stale because all she's doing is eating. Um, and the other mukbang channels that are just mukbangs, like Hungry Fat Chick, all she does is eat. I mean, she has no other content. Um, she also doesn't make any apologies for it. She's just a big person who seems to like to eat. Now, some people have said that her channel's taken a bit of a turn. Um, I haven't really kept up with her too much, but um, you know, Chantal's not the only one who does it. She is one of the only ones that I've seen, aside from maybe Amber Lynn, um, who will vacillate between the extremes of weight loss, extreme overeating, and will. I'll give her this. She's I don't know, defensive. You know, I'd like to think that if you were one of her best friends, she would be like on your side, whether you're right or wrong, because that's how she is with herself. She's on her side, whether right or wrong. She will defend any of her decisions till the end. So right now she's body positive and out and proud with it, and got a burger in each hand. When she was trying to lose weight and do keto, she was all in about that. When it was that grape lemon fast, I mean, that was the best thing in the world. That 6-day cure of depression, that was a big deal. She was very excited about. And she's just, you know, doing her thing, trying to find her way. This isn't coffee talk, so I don't want to, you know, go too far into what she's doing. The bigger issue was the behavior that she was doing around food. If watching her binge is engaging in her self-injury, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure. Is she a binger? Is she a gorger? This was an interesting part of the discussion. What was I watching? Amy's Life Journey, and this video is not new. She, I guess, called out Chantal without using her name and tried to draw the distinction between a person with binge eating disorder and someone who gorges. And her explanation, which I agreed with, was that a person with binge eating disorder, and I can identify with this with other eating disorder behaviors and my own binging, is that there's an element of shame and secrecy, and you don't want people to know, and it's very private. Whereas her description of a gorger, I think she was shying away from the word glutton, but she used the word gorger, is someone who enjoys it, gets off on it, has no shame in their game, would be happy to show it off. And that's where I think I'm finding myself right now with Chantal, which is why I feel less conflicted about continuing to watch, because I don't know that I feel like I feel like maybe she's harming herself, but at the same time, if she is, she's hiding it behind a great big smile and a lot of lipstick. So, I don't know. I guess jury's out. Are mukbangs a form of self-injury for big folks? I guess it depends on the motivation of the big person. I don't know. I won't be doing mukbangs anytime soon, I don't think. That's not to say I might not nibble on a cracker on camera, or we ate some candy during the Halloween special, but I don't think I'll sit down with a whole turkey anytime soon. If I do, definitely call me on it, okay? I'll ask for accountability, and real accountability. You know, give me some feedback. Not that kind of accountability where when you do give me feedback, I call you all haters and tell you to unsubscribe. Because I know some people that do that. Just a few. So thank you all for watching. Thank you to the people whose videos contributed to some of the thoughts I was having too. So that would mean Life by Jen. That would mean Chantal, because her videos were part of the stuff we discussed. That would mean Amy's Life Journey also. And I watched a reaction or two from Yaba on YouTube Underground. So thank each of you ladies, all ladies, for making content that I was able to kind of bounce my thoughts off of and have a video about today. Thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the like button. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc, or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email address and our contact information is listed below if you'd like to get in touch with us. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to go get a shower, and we will catch up with y'all tomorrow. Bye!